thought I'd just drop in and
Rise up to the fight. One love, one life for the revolution. Rise up and unite. Rise up and unite.
soccer is all about inclusion. And I've been talking about inclusion for several weeks with several different organisations. And a couple of people have said, just let soccer happen. And soccer will run itself. But unfortunately, we have to check in and make it visible, make it known. And on today's show, Sport in Denver, we have a gentleman that is the leader, the head honcho of CP Soccer. And I want to make it quite clear out there today. We're going to talk about that. We're going to introduce it to everyone. And we want to take it nationwide. Ash wants to take it nationwide. And I certainly want to bring it here to Colorado. So on today's show, Ashley Hammond, the main man for CP Soccer, who is going to fully inform us and educate us about the whole program, the excellent program, and the whole project. Ash, welcome to Sport in Denver, mate, and thank you very, very much for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Richard. Thanks, Anthony, also for putting the show together. Sporting Denver, can't thank you enough for hosting us. Really wonderful invitation. Thank you so much. It's been fun working with you leading up to this, and I do love the show. I love the people that you bring on, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak.
You're more than welcome. So, Ash, it looks really it's snowing here, mate. It's cold, but Colorado is still beautiful, my friend. Where are you right now, mate?
So I had the good fortune to get myself vaccinated fully, and we have a place in St. Martin that we timeshare, and this is our week. So managed to sneak out of the country for a couple of days down to St. Martin with a couple of my boys, and unfortunately, my good wife is still at home, who I love dearly, and she was the brave one to stay home and take care of everything else. But she was kind enough to let me and some of the boys come down here for a quick week off. So in St. Martin, Richard.
Sometimes you need a break, so that's not a bad choice, mate. So
not the worst.
Recharge the batteries, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. You know, it's been a really crazy different year. We were so lucky. Our cerebral palsy community, our CP community, rallied to the COVID issues, and we managed to go online and do a ton of coaching online with our crew. And throughout the bulk of the worst parts of COVID, we had hundreds and hundreds of kids come online with us and train every day. Myself and my sons were in our indoor sports facility that we own, and we were so lucky that we trained, and our kids were amazing. So we've had a busy year coaching as normal, just online, and that's not what a lot of clubs haven't been able to do. That we did. It was really successful for CP Soccer.
That's absolutely fantastic. CP Soccer, Cerebral Palsy.
Yep.
Educate the planet, educate this country, educate Colorado on that right now. It's brilliant.
Sure. So the U.S. Soccer hosts one disability national team at the moment, and it's the men's PNT, Men's Paralympic National Team, U.S. seven-a-side national team. And to be eligible for that team, you have had to have a stroke, cerebral palsy, or a traumatic brain injury. And so we created CP Soccer to identify players in that realm, all of whom have had a stroke, cerebral palsy, or traumatic brain trauma, because there's no feeder system to it. It doesn't exist. And effectively, we've created CP Soccer to create that feeder system, not only for the national team, because it doesn't matter how good or bad you are. We don't care if you're going to play for the national team or not. If you've had CP, stroke, or traumatic brain injury, you're eligible for our program, and we're going to allow you to have a good time playing soccer. The vast majority of kids with those conditions cannot compete in able-bodied soccer past a certain young age, 8, 9, maybe they get to 10, maybe 11, but most of the kids cannot compete with able-bodied players. And so we just wanted to create a parallel soccer program where they can enjoy with their peers and kids like themselves. And that's really what we've done with a lot of people. Certainly not just me, a lot of people working really hard. And so that's how you get in. That's what your eligibility criteria is. We currently operate in about 13 cities or 11 cities across the U.S. The objective is to take it to every city, because every large metro area, everywhere in the country, there are kids with these conditions. And so the idea is to allow kids to play. And COVID's actually helped that, because on Zoom, we had one girl in North Dakota, we had one in Iowa, we had one in Florida who wasn't near our satellite, one in California, North California, all over the country. They found us. And so we ended up collecting, if you like, kids from all over the country. So we're growing real quick, and with Sporting Denver and people like yourself giving us the opportunity to talk about it, it'll only help.
When we had a chat before Christmas, Ash, and put on to us by Jen, a very, very good lady, it just cold called me and said, you need to interview this guy. So I said, okay, the rest is history between me and you, mate. I was surprised in terms of, which is going to change now, how difficult it was to get everybody to come to the group, to make that awareness of it. Has that changed in that short period of time from our first conversation, Ash?
So I'm going to avoid that question a little bit, because I just want to tell anybody that's listening, if you want to talk football, so I've known Richard only a little while, but as much as I've loved our CP conversations, just talking football with you, mate, has been so fun to get to know you. It's been a lot of fun, because it's lovely to go out and talk footy. So if you ever want to talk footy, find a way to get hold of Richard and just talk to him footy, because that's so super fun. The fact that you're so interested in our process and CP soccer, that's just incredible. The hard part is finding kids. That most kids who have that level of disability, they just assume they cannot play able-bodied soccer. They kind of know where they fit, or they try really young, and they very early get weeded out, marginalized out. And then they're done. Where do they go? When you look online, if up until we came along, if you looked up online and said, where does a CP soccer player go? There was nowhere. And so getting those kids together is hard. And like I say, there's many smaller villages, towns, and cities across the country where there's not a lot of kids like yourself. And so it's extraordinarily difficult. The onset, if you like, of COVID, again, I think it really helped us actually in some regards getting players. But again, Sporting Denver and people like yourself give us these platforms. I guarantee there'll be kids coming out from having heard this. So thank you.
You're very welcome. So the question everybody asks, which I try and avoid, so I'm going to try and rephrase it a little bit different. How'd you get into this, mate?
So my son is my degree is coaching, and obviously I've been a professional coach for virtually my entire life. But I also, throughout my college career, I loved doing disability soccer coaching throughout my degree program, and I've sort of done it all my life. And then when my wife and I had one of our children has cerebral palsy, Ashley Hammond has CP, and when we found out that when he was young, nothing changed. We just raised him as a soccer player, and luckily he liked it, and nothing really changed for him except for the fact, obviously, he struggled tremendously in the able-bodied game as a young player. And when he was, 12. When he was 12, my wife saw the CP World Cup in England on BBC. She was reading BBC, saw the World Cup. She said, "Oh, Ash, look at this. There's a CP World Cup. Who knew that?" And so we contacted the coach when he came back from the World Cup. We sent him a video of Shea playing, and he flew him out to San Diego. And he tried out, and they loved him. At 13, he was doing pretty well for a kid with CP. But CP, from a perspective, he was doing really well. And from the age of 13 to today, he's 18 now. He's been on the national team program. And so he and I got together with friends of ours, Eli Hallowell and his son, Levi Hallowell, and the four of us created CP Soccer, because Levi has CP also. So it's really four creators of the program, two of whom the boys play. And we said, I'm lucky. My kid got through this because I'm a professional coach, and I had an indoor sports facility. And Shea really got through the able-bodied world much, much easier than the average kid can. So we wanted to make sure we paid it forward. And like I say, Shea now plays for the national team, and he's a coach within our program. And we are making gangbuster strides as it relates to the national team program. Incredibly well supported by Stuart Sharp, Jim Morehouse, the extended national team at US Soccer. They are fantastic with us. I mean, so much support. And then, of course, there's just the kids that want to play recreationally. They belong with us too. They have no kid with CP will ever be cut from our program, no matter how good. Can't walk and kick the ball? No problem. We'll find a way to make you play and have fun.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Anthony, he's the Spielberg of the show. Could you put, would you mind just popping that? I just want to make it visual. Would you mind popping that? There is the logo. Keep a lookout for it. I know we've got a web page that you can connect with. And can they connect with you, Ash, or any member of that organisation to find out more in their local communities? I know you can go online, sportingdenver@gmail.com. Get hold of me and Anthony, and we'll get things moving here. Can they get connected with you, Ash? Is there any other means of getting that out there and getting people connected? And let's get a crew together, my friend.
Yeah, by far the best way to get hold of me is just ashley@cpsoccer.us. You can email me anytime you like. Again, I know you and I have spoken about it. The idea that Sporting Denver is going to help us and support us and is wonderful. But Ashley at CP Soccer, it's a well-known email. I'll take any and all emails. I am by far the best person to contact. We do have, like I said, wonderful partner, Eli and Levi and Shay, but also Jacqueline Chen, who, like you said earlier, is the one that introduced us. Leah Glasser is also she's one of our young CP female players, and she does all of our social media for us. So just cpsoccer.us, Ashley at CP Soccer. You find us, we will write back to you, and I'm pretty quick with that stuff. So thank you again, and I know you can always reach out to Sport in Denver as well. There, Rich would always pass your details on to us.
And you know, soccer is one big family, and sometimes it's funny how you come across things, because you mentioned Jen. I mentioned Jen early, who actually gave me a call and said, you need to speak to this guy. The reason behind that was, you know, we put a show out with Peter Ramage, who's a Newcastle fan, Newcastle player. He's back
and our boy's a Newcastle fan.
Having spent time here in the US with Phoenix Rising in the United Soccer Leagues, and I could hear him in the background. Can I get Peter Ramage's autograph? And that led to just this, and it's funny how it reaches out. So, Ash, what team do you support?
So just real quick, so it's Jacqueline, not Jen, but that's all right. Jacqueline, who reached out to you, her son is Elliot, and because they live in Newcastle, that's how he's the Newcastle fan. Elliot, Elliot, by far and away, one of the nicest young men you'll ever get to meet, and he's a devout Newcastle fan for his sins. And you asked me the question. I'm just going to raise the shirt a little bit so that everybody can see it. And we play Benfica in about 2 hours, so Arsenal's my team. For my sins, I was raised a Gooner, 55 today, or 55 years, not today, but 55 years old and 50 years a Gooner. And for my even deeper sins, I'm a Colchester United fan also.
I forgive you on that one. I know a few Colchester. I know a few Colchester fans. That goes with the geography of where you're from. So, on that subject. That area.
Well, hold on, Rich. Hold on a second. If we're talking about crosses to bear, Derby County is a rough one, my friend. Derby County is a rough cross to bear.
Okay. Essex, back on track, mate. Essex.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had to spell it Forest and Derby and Forest. There we go. That's history. Yeah, we'll lose a load of followers and supporters now. Thanks for that. No problem.
Sorry,
Essex. No, mate, hey, if we can't joke and do change your room, you know, what's soccer for, you know? So that Essex location, you know, East of London, what was it like, you know, growing up there, getting involved in soccer, and then obviously you've come across the pond. Talk us through that background for us, please, Ash.
I'm born and raised in Colchester. My lovely two sisters, myself, my mum and my father, and then my family back there. I've got two incredible sisters who I love dearly back there, who and my mom and dad still alive back there. And my dad and mum fortunately moved our house to within 50 yards of Colchester United's football ground when I was 7. And so from the age of 9, I became T-boy, boot boy, grass mower, line painter, made tea at halftime when Man United came down for the FA Cup. You name it, at Colchester United's Old Layer Road. From the age of 9, it was really 9 to 6 to 17, sort of 8 years, I was an integral part of the locker room scene there. And as a young boy being involved in that, that was dreamland. Every big team that came in for the FA Cup, the League Cup, and even all the Costa boys that, the players that went on to play big time. So that's how I got involved in football. And then at 16, I played for the reserves once, broke my ankle, career done and dusted. And when I was 21, I got a chance to move to America. So I came to America to coach at 21. And unfortunately for my lovely mother, who always cries every time I leave England, I never really returned. And my two sisters are also equally as upset every time I leave, but they've been the most incredible strength and support in my life. My family back home, obviously now my wife and children, but that's how I ended up here. So at 21, left England and never really to return.
Fish and chips, though, right?
You set my sweet spot. Fish and chips, my friend. That's my desert island meal, and it's definitely the way to my heart is English. You can't. There's just English fish and chips. There's nothing else. What would case closed?
Stable diet for a population. We'll leave it at that. So you've set your foundations over here. Where when you first came to the States, mate? Where did you locate to, and where are you now with the base with the CP Soccer, mate?
So we started CP Soccer in New Jersey because obviously that was Shea and the location, although Eli and Levi are from New York. We very quickly added New York through the help of Jacqueline Chen. And we're now in Massachusetts, up near the Boston area. We have an affiliate in Baltimore, Maryland, Virginia, Richmond, Miami, 2 in Houston, 1 in Arizona, and 1 in Dallas. And we're soon going to be adding a few more. We're always in discussions with other people. It requires a lot of voluntary work. It's hard. But from the main location in New Jersey, New York, we offer a tremendous amount of support, again, through the hard work of Eli and Jacqueline and other people in the organization. So if anybody wants to start, it's a very low barrier to entry, just time, not, financially, we support the growth of any new CP affiliate, if you like. We have the insurance, we do all that work for you. We'll do most of the hard work's been broken. You just got to be there, find some kids, and we'll even help you find coaches, help you find fields. We really try to make it really easy. And we're not fee-based. We're not looking for money for people. It's all, raising a kid with a disability is extraordinarily expensive in and of itself. So virtually everything we do is not fee-based. A couple of things where we go to camp and stuff like that, but even then, if you need financial help, that's not an issue for us. But again, you'll find us, and if we find you, you're going to play and have some really fun times with us playing soccer.
When you set the games up, educate me. When you set the games up, does it stretch from 3v3 and right through the range? Is there any slight tweaks you make with the game? Educate me. Educate the followers and viewers for us, Ash.
So that's a very educated question. Thank you for that question. CP Soccer is slightly different. It's 7-a-side, and there are a few modifications to the rules. A lot of kids with CP don't have use of one or both arms properly. So throw-ins, for example, can be overhead like a normal throw, or they can be bowled in with one arm because obviously the other arm may not work so well.
Okay.
There's no offsides in CP Soccer, and they play on a slightly reduced field from 18 to 18. And the national team, as I mentioned earlier, U.S. Soccer has a national team. Head coach Sharp, truly another person, if you ever need to talk about, disability soccer, stuff like that, guy, wonderful person that supports us. He coaches the national team, and they're 4th in the world. The U.S. CP National is one of the most successful U.S. national teams that exists in what is known as the extended national team program of U.S. Soccer. And so those are a couple of modifications. No offside. You can bowl the ball in. 7-a-side, and there's actually a limit on substitutions as well. So you're allowed 5 subs in 3 stoppages. So it's one of those things that's been batted around into the real game. Do you change it? Do you have 3 subs in 5 subs in 3 stoppages? So those are the modifications, and it is a worldwide sport. We compete. The national team competes in a World Cup, a Copa America, various other international tournaments. CP Soccer itself, we compete in club championship programs, and also we have our own internal tournaments in the U.S.
Is there, when participation grows, and we intend it to, because I was very naive over this. I came in until I spoke to Jackie. I'm sorry, I called her Jen. It's Jackie okay. Chen as well. I get that. Okay. Hey, I'm live and uncut. So there we go. When this grows, and it will, because we're going to make it grow, I was very naive on this. I just assumed it was all taken care of, and it wasn't. So the expansion of this, would you look at a vision of obviously state for state, hosting tournaments, just growing in that aspect, which is the game itself. We're not taking anything away from the game. Don't care who we are, what you are. The game is the game. So is there a bigger vision, Ash, on this to go, boom, we're hosting a national tournament, etc.?
Absolutely. Another very good question, another really thought out question, because that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I appreciate you asking and giving me the chance to talk about it. We've grown so much over the last, it's really 4 years now since we started the program. And I'll give you an example. So at Clemson University, where Shay goes, Clemson University hosts the only Paralympic soccer program in the country as a university. And Shay's the first undergraduate student to go there. They had 2 graduate students. So Shay's the first one. They've just gained their second one this year, and they get 3 more next year. So all of a sudden, from no graduate students in 1 year, they're now going to have 5 there next year, all CP players training there, preparing for the national team. And from our perspective, from the young players' perspective, where CP soccer is really focused, within 2 years we had a camp. Within 3 years last year, if COVID hadn't ruined it, we had Bangladesh, Ireland, and Belgium coming over to play us in a junior tournament. We went over to Ireland and played. We're heading to Scotland to play. We're heading to Barcelona to play in the World Club Championship. This is in a 3-year span. And we've gone from basically 12 kids to nearly 500 kids in a couple of years. And that 500 doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot, because it's so hard to find them and pull them together. And our vision is to have a place in every city, support the national team, make sure that any kid that wants to play plays for us. You do not have to be great. You just have to be eligible. And if you're ambulatory and have a stroke, cerebral palsy, or traumatic brain injury, we have a home for you.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Now, you've in that short period of time, you've mentioned other countries and other connections. I'm going to do a shout out, and please elaborate on it, Ash. Anybody, again, I'm not talking the families and the players now. Anybody that wants to get involved and start funding this and put their profile on it, whether it's I can't name businesses. Can they get hold of you and make donations for this to evolve even further?
Absolutely. So again, as I stated, most of what we do is not fee-based. We don't charge I'm a volunteer. Most everybody's a volunteer. And just to give you a sense of the expansion and the growth of it, this summer, at the end of COVID, I had a vision at the end of our COVID, having trained together for 11 weeks, that we would tie in some other countries and try and do an online training program and see who else in the world was doing online training. Nobody was doing online training. So I managed at the end of COVID to put an event together where we had 7,000 kids and players and coaches from 31 countries joined us online for a US-based training session. And like I say, we had 7,000 kids from around the world, from 31 countries. And myself, Kirsten Winfield down at Clemson University, Jacqueline Chen, Eli,
Brilliant.
Shay Hammond, we pulled that together. And so we became de facto the leader of the online program and training as the US based. So we're going to do that again this year. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That is absolutely phenomenal. Nobody wants COVID. Nobody wants a pandemic. I get that. Has it sort of helped you to work behind the scenes and make those connections, not just in your up there in New Jersey, East Coast, etc., but spread that as well and get people connected, get the wheels in motion, ready for a push on, a move on, a bigger vision? Has it sort of helped a little bit, Ash?
So what's funny is Eli Hallowell, my partner in the program, he and I are dangerous together, because he'll look at me and I'll look at him, and he'll say, how about this? And I'll go, let's do it. Or I'll say, how about this? And he'll say, let's do it. And one of the things that came out of COVID was I called him up one day. I said, what do you think about training the boys online and girls online? Do you think they'd do it? He said, try it. Why not? So we did. And we literally sent out an email to all the kids and said, if you show up on this Zoom call at this time, we'll train you. And we had no concept of who. Hundreds showed up. They just showed up online. And then I said, because we were originally going to do it once a week, and I said to Shay, my son, who was really running it, I said, there's this many kids. We should do this every day. So we did. We did it every day. And so literally for 11 weeks, 5 days a week, we trained hundreds of kids every day, not just one. We actually trained more than most able-bodied kids, if they were lucky, did 1 or 2 online sessions with their coaches. We did it every day. and it was so fun. So it really helped us, and it really galvanized our community. Again, largely my partner Eli's a very dangerous man. If I say something, he says do it. So he's good like that, though.
I'm a big fan of dangerous people because it's great, you know. So
it doesn't hurt that we've got Jacqueline. Jacqueline's equally as proactive and so on and so forth. So we're very lucky in the organization.
She is too nice. That makes her dangerous, right?
She's lovely. I can't thank you. I can't tell you how incredible it is to work with good people like her. But I'm also very lucky. Again, my wife is incredibly supportive. My son Shay, who has the disabilities in it, my other son Gage, and my other kids. We're very lucky. All of our families, you know, Eli's wife gets it. There's no when you have CP in the family, everyone has a part of it, and everybody's involved. And our community is just an incredible community, and they'll do anything for you. So come hang out with us. Even if you haven't got CP, you can still hang out with us.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. If I'm on
we
want
to have you. We're going to have you as a guest on when we go back to some. So at some point, we'd like to have you come on our thing and have the kids ask you some questions because they love the funny accents.
Yeah, that could be dangerous, but you know, there we go. Hey, what? I'm curious. I'm sure everybody on the planet is. What's a practice session look like out there? What's it look like?
Great question. Great question. You know, we don't do anything different than other kids do, other than, you know, my curriculum. I'm a professional coach for the longest time, and I was born and raised on touching the ball, plenty, touching the ball, plenty, touching the ball, plenty. So everything we do is ball oriented. You know, when you have a disability like CP soccer, it can affect you in many different ways. It might be upper body, it might be both legs and arms, it might be one leg, both legs, one arm, one leg. So it can affect you in lots of different ways. Typically, most kids with CP stroke TBI are going to have balance issues. So the one thing that we do specifically tons of more than most other training sessions is we'll work on a lot of balance things like moving the ball out to the left or moving the ball out to the right while balancing on one leg. We do an enormous amount of that. It's almost like a free PT session within a soccer session. So our curriculum is based around that. But honestly, these kids are extraordinary children. They don't need special treatment. They just get out there and play, and they rip goals in, they pass, they dribble, they do everything else. So think of what any regular session looks like. Kids fall over a little bit more. So do I. I'm getting old. What can I tell you? But otherwise, it's pretty normal.
I think that, you know, the game doesn't change for anyone. It doesn't change because it's so adaptable for the participant, and we adapt that way. Is there any learning materials for any coach out there to learn some techniques, some approach work to without changing anything to help them, you know, transition into delivering the games in, you know, different environments?
You know, it's not. What's great, Richard, is you're clearly, you know, your questions are so profound and so good, and I really, really appreciate it. That's a wonderful question again. You know, kids learn in lots of different ways, even if they're able-bodied. Having CP and stroke TBI, it just means you learn in another way. That's all. Yeah. And so for me, I think understanding that every kid that's in front of you learns in a different way. There are some children that learn more auditorially. There are some people that learn more visually, and there are some people that learn in a more tactile way. For a CP kid, they got to overcome the balance issue first, and then decide which way they're gonna, you know. Then they have all those other sensory things going on that they learn in. So for me, I think it's more learning about how children learn. If you can understand how children learn, I think number one, it benefits you with kids with disabilities, but I think it helps you in general. And yeah, we at CP Soccer have a very, we certainly have a really fun curriculum. I think it's like I said, it's no different than any other soccer program, but the difference you would see is that we just do a ton of work on balance, all ball related, but just a lot of work on balance, stretching, keeping their legs and muscles working and moving. So happy to share that with anybody. We don't patent or copyright any of that stuff, because if you get it and it helps another kid with CP, then we've won. You can always email me.
Absolutely. Will you coin a phrase with me and spread the word? Let soccer happen.
Yeah, I love it. Let soccer happen. That's exactly what that is, and that's a great one. Sporting Denver, winning statement.
Thanks very much, Ash. I could talk to you. We could be dangerous all day, and then we can bring the rest of the crew and be totally. It'd be like the Dangerous Seven or something like that, mate. I want you to know that Sporting Denver absolutely, totally, unconditionally support the program because it's the game. Doesn't matter who plays the game, because we will let soccer happen. With your permission, I'd like to pass on your details to a few people I know out here that love the product, want to get involved in the product. I will do that, and let's get connected, and let's talk a little bit more, you know, as we go down the line. And
just so you know, Richard, there two of the up and coming stars in the United States are based right in your neighborhood. Nate Donegan and Frank Lowery, two Colorado boys who are phenomenal.
Talk about them right now.
16, both 16.
Keep going. And
both 16 young men, maybe 15, 17 now, or 15, 16, 17 now, but they're in our program. Nate Donegan, Frankie Lowery, based right close to Denver. Two of the best up and coming, both left-footed. Ones with their left foot. They worked tirelessly during COVID. It's so funny. We saw the winter disappear and the spring appear through the background of Frankie Lowery's training online and outside of his house. It was amazing. We saw snow line in the mountains of Colorado gradually disappearing as he trained throughout COVID online. It was two of the nicest young men you'd ever wish to meet. Remember their names: Frankie Lowery, Nate Donegan. Top little boys in Colorado that you're going to get to hear about in the world of CP soccer.
Nate Donegan, if you're listening out there or you get hold of this, sportingdenver@gmail.com.
Sorry, Luke. Sorry. It's Luke Donegan. I'm sorry. Nate Donegan's my cousin in Colorado. I got my two mixed. It's Luke Donegan. I'm so sorry.
Mate, sorry. We've had a date today where we've been terrible with names, so I apologise about that, Steve.
Sorry, I have a cousin Nate Donegan and a player Luke Donegan.
Mate,
Frankie Lowery's for real though.
It's live. It's Richie. It's raw. It's uncut. And I apologise.
I'm sorry,
Steve. Ash. Okay, mate. No problem. Hey, we're in the changing room now, mate. It's gone. It's all gone. All professionalism has gone out the window, mate. I love it. I need those guys' details. If you want to pass mine on to theirs, I'd love to see some of those videos. And Mr. Spielberg behind the scenes, we can do a promo and bang that out. You are an absolute rock star, and Jackie as well, and everybody you mentioned. Let's get this thing moving. I want to say, Ash Hammond, thank you. And I'm going to send you some apologies because, you know, you did mention about, if you want to talk soccer or football with Richie, come to me. I'm completely naive on that. And you have not only educated me during this show, but prior to this show, and I'm sure there's more to come. I totally have top respect for you and what you're doing, my friend, and anything that we can do here in Colorado. Get out there. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling. Thank you. I cannot let you leave, as you know. I know you want to. Right now without doing
I love this.
Quick 5-5, Ash. We've sort of touched on a few, so I'm going to tweak them a little bit. But once again, thank you. We've touched on food, fish and chips. All right, we are lustful for fish and chips. I get that. If you can't have fish and chips, mate, on the food side, what's your next dish?
Marmite sandwich. Not even close.
Would you put baked beans on it as well?
Recently evolved into Marmite and cheese, but not baked beans.
Try it. I'll do the cheese. You try the baked beans.
Rich, the Americans, honestly, if you ever want to do a test, I'm sure you've done a taste test with Marmite and Americans. They find it repulsive. But my mother and father raised me on Marmite, so I'm a total Marmite fan. Love Marmite.
I used to have Marmite on toast and a poached egg on top because we are English heathens. Our cuisine is fantastic. I'm going to move on before I see
that. Sorry.
All right. We've hit on Colchester United and we've hit on the Gooners. Do you secretly look out for those results that come in for another club? It could have been an old local club or it could be here in the US. Do you have a secret support for another club outside of Colchester and, of course, Arsenal?
Great question. I have a secret hate that Ipswich loses every week. That's the first one I look for, is to make sure Ipswich lost. And then the other one I look for is one of my best mates back home is a Wolves fan, and I love him to bits. He's my mate from 10 years of age, and I'm a secret Wolves fan with him. And but obviously being an Arsenal fan, your secret, hope Tottenham lose, hope Ipswich lose, hope Wolves win.
I've got a few like that. I'm going to move on. Growing up, back in Essex, my friend, did you have a player that was, he was your boy, or female at the time maybe? He was your player growing up?
I was very lucky. A guy called Steve Foley played for Colchester United. I loved him to death. He treated me like royalty when I was 9, 10 years of age. So what I used to do is when they were training, before training, they'd put their orders in with me, and I'd drive my chopper with a little basket on the front round to the store and pick up their lunch, whether it was a meat pie and a Mars bar. And one day I had so much food. I had so much food for the boys coming back from training. I went over the handlebars of my bike, and Steve Foley got me in the room. He patched me up, he bandaged me, and that man was my hero for the rest of my life. So Steve Foley and he's done very well as a coach, but I loved him as a kid growing up. He was one of the nicest pros I ever got to meet. One of the best and nicest pros I ever got to meet.
And I remember his name, and I remember his background as well. So that is cool. Now, for everybody out there, Ash riding a chopper, it's not an engine chopper motorcycle. It's actually a make of bicycle that was extremely dangerous. And yes, it had the chopper handlebars.
Yep.
Am I correct in saying that? And
You are brilliant.
Mate, can you remember the smaller version for the younger kid? What was it called, mate?
Oh God, I can't remember that. A Skippy or something like that. I don't remember. But my chopper was blue. Chipper. That's it.
Chipper.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. I knew it was something like that. Oh my God. Oh, I'm having deja vu here. I love this interview. I'm going
to switch a question around there. You know what? I'm going to make this the last question because I want you to leave a message for all our followers. They've had enough of it. So, on your chopper bike, this is completely off. Yeah. All right. So on your chopper bike, which is extremely, Mum wouldn't let me have one, mate. I had to have a Rally Olympus thing. Anyway, the gears were terrible. I always wanted my chops. She wouldn't let me have one. Bless her. She was probably right because dangerous, right? Did you have? I suppose there's 3 ways of doing this. Did you have nothing on it? Did you have a bell, or did you have a one of those, mate?
No, I had clothes pegs with a football cord in the spokes to make it go, to make it clack. Because who could afford a bell? You certainly couldn't afford a horn. And you took the football cards, the Panini football cards of the teams you didn't like Liverpool, and you'd stick them in your spokes with a clothes peg through your whatchamacallit, and it would flap in your thing. That's how I made a noise. Now that's teaching kids something, right? Anyone that's our age or my age listening to this now goes, I did that.
So for everybody out there on the unprofessional Sporting Denver broadcast, created the unprofessional way by Richie English, we've learned 2 things today. Get off your backsides. Get connected with CP Soccer. This is super serious. Get yourself involved. Contact Ash. People in Colorado, contact me. We'll get all this going and up and running. That's my biggest factor on this. My second is we have talked about a little bit of childhood between us that we never knew about. We did exactly the same thing. So for anybody out there, don't contact me. Contact Ash to figure out how you can make your bicycle go. And that's the last unprofessional thing I'm going to say on this show. Ash, thank you. I'm going to back out of here right now. I'll catch you after the show on the broadcast. We'll set something up. Would you please leave our message, a message for all our viewers, all our followers, and everybody out there that needs to listen to this? Cheers, mate. Catch you later.
You know, I've been very fortunate to do a ton of interviews in my life. This interview with Richie, number one, it was highly educated. The questions were extraordinarily educated and helpful to me to do an interview to promote my nonprofit CP Soccer. Sporting Denver, I cannot thank you enough for the fun. It's also just fun to talk to a really good football person. talk about our youth and our childhood growing up. Richie, Sporting Denver, loved it. Thank you so very much. CP Soccer, from everyone at CP Soccer, we thank you. Sporting Denver, thank you, and out.